Welcome everybody, my name is Nairi and I've had trigeminal neuralgia probably for about 4 years now. To be honest, I've lost count. And I see myself as a lucky person in the sense that mine is under control, and I do have some flare-ups. I had a flare-up about 2 weeks ago where I wasn't feeling that great, but the flare-ups are nothing like they used to do in the beginning. So if you've not found my original story, go right back to the beginning and follow through how I've got on and how things have changed over time. So yeah, I'm on one lot of carbamazepine, which is also called tegretol, just before I go to bed at night, and that pretty much keeps things stable. So as I say, I do have my bad days, I do have some mini flare-ups, but in the main I'm stable. But I'm here to kind of reflect with you and give you an acronym that might help you. It might not, but let me know if it does. Okay, let me know if it does. So this is based on 4 years of experience. I've been in a lot of pain, and then sometimes not being in so much pain, feeling groggy on the medication sometimes, maybe feeling a bit down. Like it's reflecting on all of that, and I just hope that this really helps you. Okay, so the first letter, or the first acronym letter I want to say is TEL. Okay, TEL. So one thing that I find really difficult, and I don't know if anybody else does, is to discuss what is wrong with me. Now, I do have more than one thing than trigeminal neuralgia. In fact, I've got quite a few things now. So for me, it feels like sometimes I am just talking about my health, okay, to people. Now, I think I'm generally a positive person, but when my family come round, if they say to me, "How are you?" I'll be like, I'm not great, I'm really tired or whatever. But I always stop before I start getting too serious with it. And I ask myself, why do I do that? Why am I embarrassed to say to people how I really feel? Is it because when other people are like that to me and they say to me, I say, "How are you?" and they go, "Oh, well, I'm okay, but, blah, blah, blah." Is it because sometimes I feel like I'm switching off? Sometimes you do meet a person that you think, okay, no matter how long I've got to listen to you, you're just going to talk about your ailments and your illnesses, and maybe they are like that all the time, and those people are definitely out there. But I don't think that most of us are like that. I think for most of us we don't want to tell, because when you say it out loud how serious it might feel to you or how serious your pain is, or then it makes it more real. And also I think because we think those people are going to reject us if we talk about how we're really feeling. And for me, sometimes I want to protect my family. I don't want them to know how bad I'm feeling, because I don't want them to feel sorry for me, because I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I just want them to know that if they're around me and I'm in pain or I'm really tired or something's happening, that if I'm not myself, I'm not my jokey, bubbly self, it's not them. So I'm kind of trying to protect them. So I reflect on all this, and I think, so the reasons why I don't want to tell people is because I don't want to hurt them. I'll pause there for a minute and think to myself, well, that's okay, that's great, but sometimes we just have to be honest. And I think if you've got trigeminal neuralgia, if you're in the really early days, you won't need to tell people, they'll see, because you'll just be in a lot of agony a lot of the time. But I think as things get a little bit better, people forget we've got it, and we do stop wanting to tell people about it. And I'm just going to encourage you right now that if you want to tell people about it, even if they don't understand, then tell them. Find good ways of explaining it. Lots of people have come on the channel and say, this is how I explain it to people, this is how I explain what I've got. And then one lady said, this is what I say, if they want to know more, I'll tell them. So the way that I've often explained the pain to people is if you imagine yourself having the worst back spasm you can have, that literally you can't move, that spasm is like having that in your, nerve pain is like having that in your face. So that kind of puts people in perspective, but only if they've had back pain. Okay, but what I'm saying is, bottom line is, tell people how it really is. You don't have to go on and on about it, but tell people, because then you're giving them the chance to respond, and you're giving them the chance to understand. Whereas if you don't tell people, you're not. So the next part of the acronym is R. Okay, rest. Oh, this is such a hard one. Okay, I'm having to rest a lot because I've got other things as well. All right, but that's another story, okay? It's not for this channel necessarily, unless you want to know about a lot of ailments. So rest is so important, and I think when you start to get better, you do less of it, all right? In the early days, you have to do it. You're in pain, you literally need to lay down, you can't move, okay? But when you are getting better, or even if you feel that you're sort of in remission, you will still get the niggles. You will still not be the person you were before you had this, because you're now probably on medication and that makes you tighter. You're not going to be the same person. So you need to rest, and you need to rest as much as you need to rest. And you'll be like, well, how much is that, Nari? And I say, well, I don't know, because your situation is different from mine, but I know I need to take some rest every day. And if I don't, if I'm on the go all the time, no matter what that is, and I don't mean on the go, it could just be housework, it could be going out for the day, doing something nice. But if I don't have any rest that day, the chances are after a little while, then I will get a mini flare-up, and they are mini flare-ups. So rest, okay? It's so hard to do as adults sometimes. I think, you know, most people, if they have lived busy lives, or they've got things they like doing, or active lives, and I don't necessarily mean active physically, I just mean like you enjoy things. So if you're not the sort of person who just wants to sit watching telly a lot, or just sit being sedentary, then it's really hard to properly rest. So yeah, okay, rest. So the next one is explore. If you haven't worked this out, this spells out tree without the extra E, explore. Now, when I got this illness, I've said this before, I was told to find something to do with my hands to take my mind off the pain. And it was a really, really good piece of advice, especially in the early days. So I found lots of new crafting interest, and I'm quite arty, so I started painting again. Now, you may not be a sort of person who can do that, but what I'm saying to you is, you have this, it isn't going to go away. You could go into remission. In my experience, most people don't fully go into remission. They still have some symptoms. You may go for surgery, and that will take, that might take away the majority of your pain, but you still will have niggles. You still will not be the same. Okay, so explore your options as to what new interests you can find and do, because you're not going to be the same level of activity then as you were before. Now, there might be people that come on the channel and say, but I am Nairi. I had this, I did this, it put it right, and I am now a marathon runner. And if that's you, that's amazing. And yeah, don't come at me if I'm wrong about you. But should we just say the majority of people will not be the same, and the majority of people will need to find activities and explore things that they can do which are not super active, and that use their hands, or get their interest going. So I don't know what that would be for you. I mean, check out YouTube for interest, but don't let yourself get sucked into the hole of just not knowing what to do. Start looking at what those options are, and sort of push yourself to think about, what can I do that's more sedentary? What can I do that uses my hands? What can I do that actually gives me a boost? If you don't have much finances, what can I do that isn't going to cost much? Start looking at it and putting yourself out there to try and find those new things, or learn maybe a new skill that maybe you'd wanted to do, but because you were working more or whatever, learn a new skill maybe. So yeah, so there's my acronym. I hope it helps you. I know it's a little bit of a different video, but yeah, check out the rest of the channel, and I'll see you next time on Let's Face It Together. Thank you.